AskReddit. What was your worst sexual experience? Number 1. Broke up with my second ever girlfriend a couple months before this. Friends convinced me having a one-night stand would help me get over it. Had a one night with this girl, pulled out and the condom had split. I was lay there freaking out while she was saying how excited she was to be a mom. She kept messaging me for a few weeks after that asking my opinion on names and if I wanted it to be a boy or a girl etc. all the while I was freaking the fuck out. She messaged one day saying just done a pregnancy test and I'm not pregnant, want to come over and have sex again? Needless to say, blocked and deleted. It put me off sex for 18 months. What the hell? Number 2. Hooked up with a girl one St. Patrick's Day in London when I was about 19, promised her spectacular things, carnal pleasures so delectable that one day she'd tell her grandkids about it. Got absolutely shit-faced, back to her place around 4 a.m., down to business. Could not get a hard-on. The only time in my life it ever happened to me, no matter what combination of drink or drugs I was on, I could always wake the snake. A consummate swordsman to the end. But not that day. She got extremely pissed off and literally pushed me out the front door of her house at 4:15 a.m. I start shouting into her letterbox, "It'll be grand, just suck me off for a couple of minutes and I'll be all right, love." Never even got the girl's name. Number 3. Friend went down on a guy for the first time and he said that was the worst blowjob I have ever received. She was like, "What are you? The Simon Cowell of blowjobs or something?" They are still dating. Edit, yes, this was the first time she went down on any guy ever. Number 4. I was getting a blowjob for my wife when my dog come in and licks my dick as my wife came up for air. Mood killer. Number 5. As we were making out, a girl whispered to me, "You know there's a place between your third and fourth rib where I could kill you." Red flag. Run. Number 6. She wanted to do anal. After a few minutes she asked me to pull out cause she felt weird, and just as I pulled out she just started uncontrollably shitting the bed. We were in a nice hotel. She went to shower and wash off her embarrassment and I went to the front desk to ask for new linens as we spilled a drink on the bed. Went out to a bar and came back but we couldn't get the smell to go away. Number 7. I was 27 and we were going at it pretty hard and intense and he missed the cooch and sort of slid in weirdly. Painful and I winced. He said, "Let's take a break," and got up to get us some water. I put my hand down there and was bleeding. Of course, I was aroused so there was a lot of blood down there. Couldn't stop the bleeding. Seriously, so much blood. Ended up going to the ER and needed 5 stitches just a little inside my vag on the left wall where it had a small tear. Side note, in the ER, they take you back straight away when you have blood streaming down your legs. Have you sharpened your tool beforehand, dude? Number 8. She was on top and put her entire weight on me. My penis bent in a way no penis should bend. It hurt a lot to the point I had to lift her off me and throw her off the bed. It took 7 days to recover. Number 9. In college I took part in my first and last threesome. It was with a girl I had been chatting with for a few weeks and one of my buddies. Me and said buddy were out at the bars and she was messaging me. He looked at me and said I should float the idea of a threesome. I did and she was interested. So we leave the bar, grab a pack of beer and go to meet her at my apartment. Keep in mind this was a studio efficiency style apartment. Things get going and we're all naked, but I'm the perfect combination of intoxicated and nervous that I'm having trouble performing. She wastes no time loudly calling me out on this fact, so I remove myself from the action and sit on my couch. I turn on the TV while the two move to my bed. Still reeling with embarrassment, and I throw on Planet Earth for whatever reason. For the next 30 to 40 minutes I sit there, naked and dejected, while the two of them go at it. I've never had the desire for a threesome since. Thank you, David Attenborough, for comforting me in my darkest hour. That story hurt my soul. Number 10. One-time thing with a random girl from Tinder. She just lay face down and told me to get in and refused to move at all. Didn't let me touch her anywhere when I wanted to pleasure her. Also insisted on doing it in the one room in the apartment that had neither windows nor an air conditioner during an extremely hot August day, which works wonderfully well with prone bone. Absolute 0-10. Number 11. Met up with a girl who claimed to have slept with a lot of women, like triple digits amount. Looked much worse than her picture. Tasted like stale cigarettes and flat beer when she kissed me. We get to the hotel and I bring some of my toys. She immediately strips me off and grabs one of my smaller but harder toys. Without any warning just shoves it right in me, no warm-up, no lube. I yelp in pain, so she switches to just fingers to get me warmed up. She then proceeds to ask me if I was on my period. I was not, because there was a lot of blood on the sheets. Turns out she gave me a vaginal tear. But wait, there's more. We end up going at it again after the bleeding stopped because we both came to come. I was not enjoying it at all. My bleeding restarts and she has the tiniest tampon to hand me. Later on she pops her hip and can't walk or move the rest of the night. When we left the hotel she wanted to make the bed to hide the blood, but I insisted on taking off the sheets and making the blood visible because it wouldn't have been nice for the housekeeper to discover it with their hands. ETA, thanks for the silver. I wasn't expecting my most popular comment to be about my vagina being ripped apart. ETA, all those asking why I stayed went through it, was horny. Fair enough. Number 12. She peed on me during sex, for like a full 30 seconds. Completely intentional, non-consenting. Before you make the claim that she's a squirter, she did that earlier. This was not that. At first I thought, this happens sometimes, and then the stream just kept going. This was genuinely just because she either thought she could get away with it, or because she didn't care. Whatever it was, I called her an asshole and told her to get out of my house. Also fair enough. Number 13. Went on a couple of dates with the biggest crush of my life. She was absolutely out of my league. She once came to my place when my parents were out of town, and after hours of making out when it finally came to the deed, I couldn't get my thing up. Tried again after a couple of weeks and didn't happen. We parted post that. Never had a boner issue in my life, even now. Will absolutely regret it for the rest of my life. Number 14. Didn't know you're only supposed to use a little bit of lube when doing anal. I squirted that whole bottle into her ass. Couple minutes in and she blew shit all over the wall behind us. Like a dead body outline on the streets or like something on a cartoon. Good times. Number 15. In high school I was getting a blowjob whilst standing up facing her closed bedroom door. I pulled out to nut on her face when her 6 feet 7 inches dad opened the door. I nutted on her face whilst locking eyes with her father. I honestly think that if he wasn't so worried about the risk of getting jizz on him, he would absolutely beat my ass. I ended up dating her for 2 years after that. He father eventually got over it, but I think he was happy when I moved away. Not the proudest moment for any of you guys. Number 16. Had a girl choking me during a one-night stand, told her to stop, but after a couple seconds she grabbed my throat again with both hands. It was the only time I faked an orgasm. Worst part was, I got really pissed at her, but I couldn't kick her out as she lived an hour away and they already missed the last train home. Next day, she just wouldn't leave even though I asked her to go home because I had friends coming over. At some point, I told her my plans changed and I had to go. Told her to close the door behind her when she leaves and I just took off. Thank God she was gone when I got back. She did send me nudes afterwards, which was fun, even suggested to come over again for sex with her sister, which was weird AF. Never met her again after that one night. Number 17. Cramp, fuck, cramp, stop, cramp my fucking calf. Stop thrusting, dickhead. Number 18. I was about to have sex with a girl that I was madly attracted to, when during the foreplay she grabs my penis and pulls it so hard that she ripped the skin under the head plane off, the part that holds the head and the stem. The blood just poured everywhere. Since penis was erected and I could not stop the bleeding. Everything was in blood. The bed, me, her, floor, etc. I called for an ambulance and got 9 stitches same evening without any pain-killing syringe. They told me it will be just as painful to give me syringe as simply sew it. I pulled through the horrible pain, still gives me chills. Needless to say, I have never seen the girl again. Number 18. So I was at a works party and broke up with a girl I was dating at the time who was also a colleague, but that's a whole other story. I decided to run not to let it ruin the night and headed to some clubs afterwards with a few others. We'd only been dating a few weeks, so I wasn't too broken up about it. A couple days later, a female colleague who came to some of the clubs with us gave me a message. I assumed it was to check in and see how I was after the breakup. It quickly became clear that she had no interest in seeing how I was and was just looking to be next in line. Trying to let her down gently, I told her I thought it was too soon to be jumping into something else. She tells me she's not looking for anything serious. The whole conversation gave me weird vibes, but she was pretty hot, so against my better judgment I decided to arrange to meet up with her at a hotel a few days later. We arranged to meet around 6:30 p.m., so I met up with a friend first who said he'd give me a lift there. She tells me she's going to be late as her housemate is having a party and she's unable to use the bathroom to get ready yet. Alright, no problem. I asked to give me an ETA when possible. An hour goes by and she's still not left, then another hour. My friend could only stay so long, so I headed into the hotel lobby and started drinking by myself. She eventually gets there 3 hours late. We have a couple drinks. Conversation isn't too thrilling, but who cares? That's not why we came. We head up to the room shortly after when the bar closes and get comfy on the bed. She pulls out a bottle of rose and says she wants to be more drunk first. That part feels a little insulting with hindsight. I head into the bathroom and I pop a blue pill just for that extra performance boost. She puts the TV on and Blood Diamond is on. She says, "Oh, let's watch this." Keep in mind this is almost a 3-hour movie and just started. She's not drinking her wine as she says she doesn't like how it tastes. There's a 24-hour petrol station across the road, so I ask if she wants me to go get some more, but she says no. I had somehow left the tap on and the bathroom floor was pretty flooded when she went to use it. Oops. She was pretty furious about the whole thing. I spent a good 20 minutes trying to clear it up as best I could by using a towel to absorb it and rinsing it into the sink. It was still pretty wet afterwards though, and she said she's now unable to go in there and get ready until it dries. So we watched the entirety of Blood Diamond and haven't so much as touched at this point. Afterwards she says she needs some cigarettes, so I offer to run to the station. She says no, we'll take a taxi. It's literally across the road and would be quicker and cheaper to walk, but she's insistent upon the taxi. The taxi takes a while and the road happens to be a dual carriageway, meaning the taxi had to go up and around and then do the same to get back. So this took longer than walking and also cost me £8. Also purchased the cigs. She seems a bit more cheerful after a smoke and we get back to the room and she goes into the now dry bathroom to get changed. I tell myself this is it and expect her to come out wearing something sexy before we get down to business, but instead she comes out in a dressing gown and PJs with big fluffy socks and slippers. I'm left feeling a little confused. I ask if she still wants to do what we came here to do and no pressure if not. She seemed a little annoyed and asked why I think she wasn't still up for it. I was stone cold sober at this point and the effects of the Viagra had long since worn off, and now I was just left with a little heartburn and wasn't feeling in the least bit horny. I thought she wanted to go ahead with it though, and being the people pleaser I got to work. The kissing wasn't too exciting and it almost seemed forced from her end. I think perhaps she's just not much of a kisser, and proceeded to undress her slowly and work my way down south. I've never had trouble locating a clitoris before, but this was different, almost like a bee had stung her there and it was all swollen and the clit was somewhere in this swollen mass. I wasn't sure if my tongue was on it and was trying to judge by her moans whether I was hitting the right spot. Made me feel like a safecracker with a stethoscope. I don't think it was working too well, and she says out of nowhere and with very little expression, "Sit on my face." I say, what? She repeats, "Sit on my face." So I climbed up awkwardly over her and put my totally flaccid penis in her open mouth. She remains motionless for a while, mouth still open, not even making eye contact. I decide enough is enough, roll off and head to sleep. Said our goodbyes in the morning and I sent her an apology later in the day thinking I'd done something to make her uncomfortable, and that's why things went the way they did. She insisted everything was fine and somehow we ended up dating for a while, which was a total disaster. Also, my friend got a 60-pound parking fine for waiting with me in the hotel car park so long. It was my bad, so I paid for it. I've had stranger sexual experiences, but this one sticks out as the most exhausting and disappointing of them all. Number 19. Watching my wife grow into a cold, passionless person with no desire for me. How long did this sex session last? 7 years. That's a long time. Number 20. I was at a party once talking to this girl I've seen a couple of times before. One thing led to another and I ended up sleeping at her place. I was thinking, I hope this isn't just a one-night stand, because she was really nice. In the morning, she had to go to work, but she told me I can hang around for a bit. All I need to do is shut the door when I go out, and that the toilet doesn't flush. So I have a coffee and proceed to go take shit. Only after did I realize what I had done. I didn't want to leave a massive shit in this girl's toilet, so I took a plastic bag and scooped it out. I put the bag on the shoe rack beside the door and put on my shoes. Then I walked out of the door, slammed it shut, but I hadn't taken the bag of shit with me. At this point, I gave up and made sure to never see the girl ever in my life. If you're reading this, I'm so sorry. Number 21. In college, an old girlfriend was writing me, and at a certain point she stopped to grab a can of Coke on the bedstand. She brings it to her lips and starts chugging. Just taking an all-around breather. A quick water break. My cock still in her. I looked up at her and was like, what the hell, laughing? So I called her out, lightheartedly, and she started laughing so hard the soda just fell out of her mouth and onto my belly. It was actually very funny. We both got a kick out of it. Number 22. I was younger, full of mania and weed. I was at a bar and just chatting with my friend who was bartending that night. A much older man was like, hey, I'll buy you lunch at this expensive Italian place for a blowjob. I say sure, and we head to the bathroom and head into a stall. Long story short, I am doing the deed and we hear the bathroom door open, so I stand up. This fucking guy who I'm blowing decided to sit on the toilet and taking an actual dump, so I bust out of the stall and try to ignore the thoughts of finding the shortest pier to take a very long walk off. Number 23. Friend of my roommate. She was visiting for the weekend, going to crash on the couch. We were sparking pretty hard, and I suggest she could share my bed instead of the couch. She agreed enthusiastically, but warned me that we couldn't fuck because she had a boyfriend and that was their deal. So we go to bed, make out madly, I go down on her, she has a screaming, wall-punching wild orgasm. We cuddle for a bit, she starts stroking me. I suggest she use her mouth. She tells me she doesn't do that. Also, she won't lube, it's too messy. Meanwhile, my face looks like a glazed donut. I suggested she might be more comfortable on the couch. She's a little snippy because I don't consider a chaff job as a fulfilling interaction between a couple in their 30s. Number 24. Was seeing a girl for a bit that was aggressive in bed. We had to always start with her on top so she could come first. She would pinch me and shit. She bit my balls once. But the final straw was the time she was on top, and she asked me to hit her. I asked how she meant. She wanted me to straight up punch her in the face. I told her I wasn't comfortable with that because I was worried I would hurt her. She seemed disappointed by my answer, but we kept going. So as I'm about to come, she hauls off and punches me right in the diaphragm. I pushed her off me, which meant also off the bed into a clothes basket. I rolled off the bed coughing and gasping for air. I asked, in between gasps, what the fuck was that? She grabbed her clothes, says, you couldn't even let me come, and just walks out of the house naked, carrying her clothes, and cursing me. She hit me up a couple days later saying she was sorry for overreacting and wanted to make it up to me. When I told her I wasn't interested anymore, she proceeded to curse me out, blow up my phone, and then actively try to sleep with my friends. Number 25. One night I was drunk and called my BF at the time telling him I wanted to fuck, but we can't at my place. I left the house telling my family I was going to my friend's house to watch an episode of some show that I didn't watch. This was probably an awful performance to witness considering how fucked up I was, and I proceeded to walk in the thin layer of snow and got to the baseball dugouts at the local. I told him to just meet me there. When he got there, I gave him a shot of my liquor, and we smoked a very crappy joint that I rolled, and then we were like, what the hell? And he pulled my pants down with me gripping the pole, and he slapped on a condom and got busy. We both finished after getting funky standing up, on the bench, and even on the dusty floor. But we got up and he realized he didn't know where the condom went. We drunkenly stumbled around looking for it, but we couldn't find it. We were so messed up and tired we just went home. I had to pee after, naturally, so I just clenched my everything and went home. Snuck in nice and quiet and waddled to the bathroom and got down to business. Got back up and turned around, I found it. The missing condom cum and all. But yeah, that was a weird night. Thank you for watching and listening to this video. If you would, go ahead and give that like button a smack and the subscribe button a smash for more videos. Smack and smash. See ya.